Hi, everyone. Oh, man, it's like a Monday and it's a Wednesday. I got into my studio this morning to get everything set up and internet wasn't working. So I had to get some IT support to get my internet up and running. I am just going to check a couple of things here while we're waiting for people to join us. I'm just making sure that um, everything is working for me here. It looks like it looks like I'm live. Just making sure all the tech works. Let's see. Okay. I think I'm going live. I hope I'm going live. I don't seem to, it seems to be working. Okay. So we're going to go with that. Um, yeah, it's kind of uncomfortable doing this via Zoom because I can't see you all chatting at me. And so I'm just kind of hoping that it's all working. And I'm just going to waste a couple of minutes here so people can like log in and find me. Let me see, I'm going to open this up on my phone and see if it'll show me that I'm connected. And yeah, okay. And there's a comment. So apparently things are working. All right. Perfect. Okay. Thanks, Catherine, for letting me know. So I just wanted to chat with you guys a little bit about some photography tips and tricks. I have decided to do a little bit of a photography workshop, a little virtual photography workshop starting in January. And it's going to be just like basic photography info. It's a 4-week virtual workshop. So every Thursday evening for 4 weeks, starting January 20th, I believe. I'm going to be going over a host of different photography basic stuff. So it's going to be kind of good for people who, you know, maybe have a fancy camera and they want to know what all those things mean and how to make, you know, the different settings work. Or it could be for somebody who, you know, maybe already knows that, but just needs some assistance with, you know, composition techniques or specific like settings that will help their photos really like pop. And so I'm doing this little workshop today for the Royal Boya Bazaar to do kind of just a little sneak peek as to what is to come in that workshop. And I will be sharing a link for more information to sign up for that one in the comments on this post when I'm done as well. So I have a list of stuff to go over. I'm going to try to keep track of my time. I'm a little afraid that I'm either going to have too much to say and not have enough time or not enough to say, and we'll wrap up early. So we'll see how it works. I got this like my hair today. Okay. So ignore that thing that keeps popping down. So first, before we get started, I have kind of a couple little sets for you that I'm going to show you and kind of walk through. First, I just want to apologize in advance for any motion sickness that may occur here as I'm moving the computer around so you all can see what I'm doing. But I didn't want to do this on my phone because I want to be able to use my phone to show you guys how to get some good shots with just a, you know, just a simple cell phone and stuff that you may have around the house. So first off, I wanted to talk to you about using your cell phone for photography. So most phones shoot in JPEG. And so when you're taking photos with your phone, you are likely the file format that it is producing as a JPEG, which is fine. A JPEG is not the best if you're looking to edit your photos. So professional photographers tend to shoot in RAW. And RAW gives more information into your images so that when you are trying to do some editing and post-production, there's more information there for you to use. So it's good if you're working in like low lighting situations or if you're wanting to adjust for color or anything like that. So there is an app that you can download for free. It's called Lightroom Mobile. And the Lightroom Mobile, let me see, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you very well. But it is, I don't know if you can see, it's that little like black and white or a black and blue guy right there. And so Lightroom Mobile is an option for you to be able to use to take photos in RAW on your phone. And so it works just like a camera. You can see it kind of like opens up there, but it's got the option on the top that says DNG, and that is the RAW format. So some cameras will say DNG, some may say NEF. Those are RAW format images. And so those will give you the most information in your photos to be able to do with editing after the fact. So that's just something I wanted to open up with, is I'm going to be shooting today in Lightroom Mobile on my phone, so that I have all the information in the raw files, and I can show you, hopefully, if I don't run out of time, a little bit of editing at the end as well. Let's see. Okay, so first off, when you're setting up your scene, whether this is for, product photography, business images, if you're just trying to, take some nice photos of your kids or your family or your pets, the first thing, like one of the first things you want to do is you want to check out your background. And so you want to look, like if you're outdoors, for instance, like I'm constantly checking, is there a tree growing out of somebody's head, right? Is there a telephone pole that's coming out of somewhere weird? Is there a, like, if you're out in the, like at some wooded park or something and you're pointed towards the parking lot, is there like a bright red car like in the background? Is it just going to like be an eyesore in your photo? And so I'm looking for that, and I'm moving my subjects or myself depending on where those things are. So I will often use my subjects' bodies to block out things in the background that I don't want to be in the photo. So like I will move my clients a little bit to the right to cover up that red car, or maybe I'll move a little bit so that my angle is such that I'm not like seeing that red car, or I'm not seeing the tree or the telephone pole growing out of their head, or whatever the case may be. So checking backgrounds, super important. I will also say that another super important thing is, we're going to get into more of this, but lighting, like where's your light? Where's it coming from? We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. If you're doing like product, this is easier for product photography, or like studio based stuff. If you're in your home and you have like a little bit more control over kind of what objects you have in your photo, I recommend, just for easy like post editing and color correction, to try to have something that is a true white, or a true black, or possibly a true gray in the photo, because that's going to make it really easy for you to correct your color, your white balance, and your color. And I will talk a little bit more about that as well. But if you can have something in your photo that you know is white, that's going to make life easier for you afterwards. Gray is a little tricky because sometimes certain gray objects will have like a little blue tint to them. Or like I've noticed my headboard in my studio has a little bit of purple to it. And that was not something that I was expecting, but it makes it challenging because the purple pops in some situations. So I try to go with white or black, because that makes it a little bit easier for me. You can also buy something called a gray card that is a true gray. And so you can hold that up, you can take a photo with that, and then move it away and take your images. And then you know what your white balance is supposed to be. Okay, so I'm going to, this is the first like roller coaster moment. I'm going to shift my camera here so you can kind of see what I have set up behind me. So I have put together a little bit of a product shot there behind me. And you'll notice that I have that white background. So I'm going to make it easy for myself today, and I'm just going to have a plain white background. I don't have to worry about what's in my background or getting rid of stuff. And I'm also going to have that white for easy color correction. Let's see, what else can I say about this? You'll notice that I have a ring light. There are several different types of light that you can use for your photos. There is, natural light. And so that's like the light coming in through the windows, or if you're outside, that's the sunlight coming through. There's ambient light, which is the light that is just like generally lighting up the room or the space that you're in. I don't usually recommend using ambient light if you're indoors, only because you want to be in control of your light and not have different like colors of light coming in or different directions of light. I don't know if you've ever tried to take like a selfie in your bathroom, but you have like that terrible like orangey, like yellow light that's coming in from the bathroom lights. So yeah, if you can have like natural light, or if you can have some kind of artificial light, like the ring light that I have here, that's going to help you out. So when I get to shooting, I am going to turn on the ring light, and then I'm going to turn off the overhead light because I want to be in control of my light, and I don't want to have different light color temperatures coming in. So I'm going to be turning off the overhead light and turning on the ring light to show you. Let's see what else. I have my notes here I'm checking out. I'm also going to say that it's going to be super important with your photos to get good images. You need good light. So photography is light. Like you can't take images without having light available. Like the light, I can go into all the like, because I learned photography in like camera-based photography. And so I can talk to you about like how film works and all that, and the different like exposure triangles. And that's something that I'll be going over in my workshop, but not quite getting into that today. But light, you're going to have better colors, because what creates a color? Like color is light bouncing off of it, right? And so you want the light to be able to bounce, to be able to get the pops of color. So you're going to get better color, you're going to get better focus, and less blur in your images. So yeah, and again, that comes to like the exposure triangle and different settings and things. But more light, better colors, better focus. There's different types of like lighting. So things like backlighting, side lighting, all the different, like there's lots of like things involved in lighting. But for the most part, for what you guys are doing for just basic, product or family photography, just make sure you have some good light coming in. Okay, so I am going to, let's see, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over here so you guys kind of get like a side glance at what I'm doing. So again, here we go with the roller coaster. Okay, so I set up a little bit of a product shot here with some of the items that I have in my client gift bags for my boudoir clients. And so you will see, I've got a candle there from Dick Cat Candles. I've got some soap from Lion and Rose. And then I have a cell phone stand, branded cell phone stand from Purple Girl Boutique. So I've got all that stuff set up. I've got this white foam board as my background. Just something I like picked up on Amazon, super easy. You can use a poster board or whatever. And then I just have a little proppy fake plant that I got from IKEA to add a little bit of interest. And so you'll notice that I have, several different products, but I also have them in different like levels. Like not everything is the same height. I've got some variation in levels. I've got some variation in textures. So yeah, that's kind of why I set it up the way that I did and why I added in that plant to give it a little bit of extra something. So I'm going to turn on my ring light. Let's see. Okay, so I've got my ring light on and I'm going to go turn off the overhead light. So excuse me for just a second. Okay, I am back. Okay, so I've got my phone opened up in the Lightroom Mobile, and I'm just going to snap a couple of photos, and I'm going to kind of talk you through what I'm doing here. So let's see. All right, so one thing you want to think about is angles. So I'm going to take these product photos. I think I'm going to try for like 3 different angles, and then I'm going to rearrange and do 3 different angles again. So when we get into the editing stage, you'll kind of be able to see how angles, adjusting your angle will adjust the image. So I'm gonna take a couple shots here. Let's see, try not to knock over things while I get myself situated. Another great thing about the ring light and the white background is that the ring light is shining on the white background, which is then reflecting light. So you're going to get fewer shadows, and you're going to get more of a glow behind your stuff because the white is reflecting that light. So that is something to think about. Okay, so I got one shot. Let's see. I'll kind of like move myself over here. I've got that angle. Okay, and then I'm going to try, maybe I'll get up higher for this one. I'm going to get up high. Okay, so I've got my 3 different angles there. So what I'm going to do now is I know a lot of you are probably watching If you are looking at this for business, you're probably, you have some products that you photograph. And so this is one way to do it. Another way is something called a Flatlay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move some stuff around, and I'm going to create a bit of a Flatlay process here. So I just want to preface this by saying that I am not a product photographer. I do it occasionally for people that request it, but I don't know, people have better designs out there for their Flatlays than I do. I just want to kind of create something, and maybe not with all the products, maybe just with a couple of things here. Let's see. I'll do like that. And actually, since I'm using this candle, I think I kind of want to light the candle. So I'm going to go grab a lighter really quick. Because this is what I do. Like, I set stuff up and I think about like, how could it be better? So give me just one moment. Okay. Candle. Hopefully everything will light for me. Okay. So what I'm going to do now before I get started is I'm going to adjust this ring light. So I'm going to make it taller and I'm going to hover it over the top. So again, with the ring lights, they're awesome because they're able to put light all around your images. So they help with avoiding some shadows. Okay, so look at this. I'm going to adjust this guy. Perfect. Okay. So again, I'm going to adjust things. Let's see how they look. And then I'm going to go from a few different angles here and get some shots. Okay, so I'll do one from like straight above through the ring light. And maybe I'll give this one to Shelly because these look kind of cool. Okay, so I got that one straight on, a little bit of a sideways. I'm going to adjust this plant a little bit, get the stuff where I want it. And then, let's see, maybe I'll come a little bit further this direction for the next one. Again, just moving stuff, try to create a good image here. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to look at my notes again and just make sure I covered the things that I wanted to make sure that I covered. Okay. I think I'll go over some of these a little bit later too, but I also wanted to show you one more thing. And so, like I said, I kind of had this part set up for like products photographers or business photographers. I wanted to show you now a little something more about like portraits and how to set it up for, you know, good photos for your family. And so again, I'm going to move, I'm going to move you guys so you see something else. So let's wait for that roller coaster right here. First, I'll just move this ring light though. I can take care of that a little bit quicker and easier. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I will try to access those before I finish the live here, but if I'm not able to see what y'all are saying to me, I will definitely go back to the comments on the replay. Okay, so I've got this little setup over here, and I will be moving. I'll be moving you guys in a second so you can see me better, but I'm just getting things adjusted here. Okay, roller coaster ride, you guys, here we go. Okay, I think that might be as good as I can get. Okay, so I stole one of my kids' stuffed animals there. because I was not going to try to work with my kids because they would not, they're definitely photographers' kids. And they know when I've got a camera in their face. So I stole a little stuffed animal from my daughter. It looks like she gave him a haircut because his ears are missing and his eyes are gone, but you know, it's hard to come across stuffed animals that are all in one piece in my house. So I'm doing what I can. Okay, so sorry, I'm a little breath here. With photographing people and photographing kids, one of the biggest recommendations that I have for people is to change their angle. So oftentimes, like if this was a photo of a kid and this kid was sitting in this chair, what I often see from parents and people is that they come and they stand over here. Let's see. They stand over here and they take a picture of their kid looking cute in the chair like this, right? Like they're standing, they're taking this photo. And so I want to show you guys, I'm taking all these photos and I'm going to show them to you. But I want to show you how the image can change when you change your angle. And so with kids, I recommend, my biggest recommendation is to get down to their level. So get down to their eye line, get down low to be with them. And so that could very much mean sitting on the floor, which is definitely something that I do a lot of. But we want to sit on the floor. We want to get down to their level. So again, I'm going to get from a couple different angles here, but I'm still down at eye level. Okay. Let's see. Still down at eye level, just different angle. All right. Also, another one of my favorites is to get up like way on top of them and make them look up at me because I like whatever is closest to the camera is going to look the biggest. And so when I have a kid and I'm like hovering over the top of them and they're looking up at me, the closest thing to me is their eyes. And so their eyes, they're just amazing and they just like pop and they look so like big and beautiful. So if I want to really get a good shot of kids' eyes, I'm like hovering up on top of them. So again, this poor stuffed bear is missing his eyeballs, but pretend this was a kid and this kid is looking up here at me and I'm just gonna take this shot. Or maybe like over in this direction, he's looking at me. There we go. Okay, so getting up high, I'll come back down and talk for a minute here. Getting up high is also really good for taking portraits of adults. And so when you are doing portraits of an adult, again, the thing closest to the camera is going to be the biggest. And so like, I don't know about you guys that are watching this, but when my husband like takes a photo of me, it's usually from a lower angle or from a straight on angle. And so like I look at myself and I'm like, that was not a good picture. Like there's a reason like I'm the photographer of the family, I think. So when you're up higher, you know, your face, your features, that's the thing that's going to be more prominent in the photo. That's the thing that's going to be like the eyes are going to pop. You know, your makeup is really going to look great if it's, you know, nice and close to the light. And then things are going to kind of fade away as you go down. And so I'm not really in the best like position for a selfie right now, but I'll kind of show you. So let's see if I can. Okay, this thing doesn't have a timer on it. That's the only beef that I have. So I'm going to go kind of from like eye level here and take a photo. And then I'm going to be down low and take a photo. And then I'm going to be up a little bit higher and I'm going to take a photo. Okay. So we'll take a look at those and we'll see how those look different. And again, from the position that I'm in right now, I don't have the ring light, but I have my big windows back behind me that's lighting me up. So I have the natural light coming in. And so that's what I use for the last set of photos is the natural light coming in on my face. So let's see here. Down low. Okay. talked about, just checking my notes here, I talked about different like sizes of products in, you know, Flatlays and product photography, like different heights, different textures, you know, mixing it up a little bit. There's also something called the rule of thirds that I'm going to show you as we get into the editing portion of this too. But the rule of thirds is if you picture like a tic-tac-toe board over your photo. So when you're taking a photo and you picture, like, you know, you have the two lines like this and you have the two lines like this, you want your subject area to be along one of those lines or at the corner where they meet. That's going to be your interest points. And so you can adjust this in camera when you're taking photos, or you can adjust it, you know, to an extent, depending on what your photo is when you take it. But you can also adjust it when you're cropping later on. And so, like, I just want to show, I can show a little bit here. So like, if you're looking at the way that my screen is set up right now, this drives me crazy, right? My face is like right in the middle. The tic-tac-toe lines would be like here, and they would be like here. And like my face, my eyes, my mouth, like they are right in the middle of that. And as like a photographer, that drives me nuts. And so I'm constantly like moving my camera down. And so now my like eyes are along that line. You know, if I even like, I don't know, if I even sat like over here, like that would add a little bit of extra interest because now I'm on like this cross line too. So yeah, that's kind of how the tic-tac-toe board works out. So I'm constantly, like when I'm on Zoom calls, adjusting my camera because I can't stand this. This is just like wasted space up here. So I'm constantly pulling it down so that my eyes are at that tic-tac-toe level. Okay, so now I'm going to try to show you. So with Lightroom Mobile, let's see if this worked. There we go. Okay, so with Lightroom Mobile, I have, and I honestly don't know if you need the Adobe Creative Cloud account for this or not, or if this is just a functional Lightroom Mobile. The Creative Cloud account for Lightroom, or for Adobe, excuse me, it gives you like Lightroom and Photoshop and some other things too for like $10 a month. So if you're doing a lot of photos and a lot of photo editing, it might not be a terrible thing to look at and invest in. But I'm going to try to share my screen. Another reason that I wanted to do this on Zoom was to like share my screen with you. Okay. All right. So I'm hoping that you guys are all seeing this, but I just wanted to show you a little bit. Let's see here. Okay. So let's open up this image. Okay. So this is my first shot. And if I wanted to come in and make some adjustments here, let's see. Okay, so there's all kinds of adjustments that you can make, but I want to show you a little bit about white balance. And so white balance is, you know, finding true white, finding the balance between like the warm tones and the cool tones and the greens and the magentas. And so you may take a photo and you may think that the thing that you're looking at that's white is white, but then you correct the white balance and it's like, ooh, that was really cool. Like I totally brought up that warmth, and it looks a little bit better. And so in this, what I like about Lightroom is when you're correcting white balance, you can take this little like eyedropper tool here, and you can click on something that's a true white or a true black, or as close to it as you want to get, and you can just click on it. And it looks like I was pretty spot on with my stuff, but let me show you. Like if I were to, I don't know, I know this isn't like a true gray, so this will show you, but if I click on this and I'm like, ooh, that's a true gray. Is it not doing it? Man, here I am trying to show you guys examples and it's not like working for me. There we go. Okay, so like that green, that was definitely not like a white or a black or a gray, but I'm telling Lightroom it is, and so it's trying to make it that way, but it's not. So I'm going to come back over here and click on the white, and there's my true white color. Okay, so like I said, there's a lot of different corrections that you can do. You know, white balance is one of those things that I recommend. Let's see here. I'm also going to go to crop, and so you can see when you're cropping, it puts the tic-tac-toe board into place for you. You can see the lines. You can see this tic-tac-toe look. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop. I mean, it's pretty good. Like I have like my interest stuff here and at this cross point and the plant up here. But I think I'm going to crop it down just a little bit here. Oops, it's got it on custom. Let me get it back to the original size because I want it locked on the original size. Okay, so I'm going to bring it up a little bit and then I'm going to move it here a little bit because another thing is about filling your frame. I don't like the extra space. And so now I've got a lot of stuff along this line. I brought Laura's like phone stand up a little bit higher so it's more along this line. And so I'm going to do that. Okay, so there's that image. All right, so remember I took this from 3 different angles. So let's see, I'm going to get out of that photo. And there's my other angle. So I've got that one. And then I moved myself over here for that angle. And again, I can correct the white balance. I can crop it down a little bit. I would probably crop out some of this empty space here. So maybe let's just do that really quick. All right, we're thinking about it. It's going to take too long to think about it. I'm going to move on. But yeah, okay. Maybe more internet issues, hopefully not. But yeah, so I probably crop that down. And then the third angle, let's see here. I've got that. And then I kind of came up a little bit higher and looked down on this one. So again, you can set things up in one way and just move yourself and your camera to get different angles for these products. And then my flat lay. So with this one, I'm hoping this will open because I just want to change. And again, this is like picky photographer me coming in and trying to change things. Okay, I don't have the patience for that one. But like, for instance, this is really white. So I might try to like maybe bring the exposure down or the highlight down, maybe up the contrast a little bit to get some of those words to really pop out. I'm happy that I lit the candle because I really like that effect. But there's flat lay number 1, flat lay number 2, and flat lay number 3. And so like I adjusted things, I moved myself and my camera for 3 different images. Okay, so let's see what was next. So next is the bear. Okay, so this is what I said is kind of the stereotypical shot that I see people taking photos of kids. Like they're standing at adult height, they're taking a photo of their child. Whether the child is standing, sitting, running, playing, whatever, I see very often the photo of the kid taken from the adult height. But if we move ourselves down to the kid level, you're going to get, at least in my opinion, a better composed image of your child, of your person in general. So down at their level, and again, like I could be correcting white balance, contrast, whatever I wanted to do, recrop it. You'll notice, let's see, I don't know why like these are taking so long to load for me to edit. So I'll give this one more try. But when I talked about like the rule of thirds, yeah, I'm not waiting for that. I don't have the patience for that today. When I was talking about the rule of thirds, so there's going to be like a line here, right through where the eyeballs on this poor bear should be. And there's going to be a line here, and there's going to be like a line coming down this direction, and there's going to be a line coming down this direction. So I've got the eyeballs along that line. And that's kind of what my focus always is with people, is the eyeballs. So yeah. And then I talked about getting up above. Oh, here's another angle. Again, still down at kid height, down at their eye level, but just kind of changed the angle a little bit. Change the angle again. So again, take lots of shots of the same thing. Don't make your subject move. You can move, and you can get different variety of shots from different angles. Okay, and then this is my up above. So imagine this poor little guy actually has eyeballs. So the eyeballs would have the light reflecting. You would get that nice catch light in their eyes from the ring light. And yeah, I would probably crop this down a little bit for that rule of thirds situation, but that kind of shows you a little bit. Okay, now, oh, and I turned his head. That poor guy, I wonder where his eyeballs went. Okay, so now for my selfies here. So this shot was like straight on at eye level. It's fine. There's a lot of things I could do to it. It's not a terrible photo, but this is an eye level shot. This is what I tend to get from my kids and my husband. This is the like up the nose, huge body, small head sort of shot. So this is a lower angle, which is not generally flattering for most people. And then here's up above. So up above, and again, I would probably decrease the exposure on this one post a little bit because I'm looking a little bright in my face. But my eyes are popping. Like my eyes get the catch light really well on this one. Like the colors in my makeup are shining. My eyes are looking really blue. And it's because I'm allowing the light to land on them first. So you'll see in this one, the focal point is still my face and still my eyes, but in this shot, like it's more. I don't know how else to explain it. Like that's just what I'm seeing. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to open up Facebook on my phone here because I think that's where I'm going to be best able to see the comments. So let's see. Oops, now I'm replaying it. So Kate, you said awesome idea. I'm not sure what you were talking about, but thank you. I'm not seeing any other questions. It looks like I have a few people watching. But yeah, I'll kind of talk a little bit more for a few minutes. So if you are watching and you have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, if you have a question in the replay, I'll be sure to come through and answer those for you as well. But again, my photography basics workshop is starting at the end of January 20th. I believe I'd have to look at my calendar. It's a Thursday in January, so I think it's the 20th. And it's going to be a 4-week virtual workshop series. And so every week we're going to be going over a different aspect of photography, both from a technical point and a compositional standpoint. And again, it's for beginners. It's going to be very beginner level stuff to help you kind of improve your photography or even like learn the basics around photography and how to use your camera. And again, like camera, phone, whatever you're taking photos with, it's going to be helpful for you. Let's see. So that, yeah, 4-week virtual workshop Thursday evenings. It's going to include, worksheets and handouts and things. The replays will be available if you're not able to make some of the live workshops. And yeah, I'm also hoping with the last class to do, there will be some homework. So I'll definitely have some things for you to do based on the themes of the workshop each week. And then at the end, I'm also hoping to do a bit of a little bit of an editing tutorial and a little bit of I can't think of the word. I have it on my handouts. I have it on my outline, like a show, like showing us some of your stuff with, a little bit of critique if you're interested, just being able to show us what you learned and what you got. So that's going to be in that virtual workshop as well. So I don't see any other questions or comments, and I'm getting pretty close to my time. I didn't quite get there. With the tech issues, I was again afraid that I was going to have too much to say, but it looks like I timed this out pretty well. So let me know if you have any questions. I will include the link to the photography workshop in the comments here, and also probably in the comments on my vendor host thing in the vendor host album. So again, thanks to Shelly from Lion and Rose and Trisha from Dick Cat Candles and Laura from Purple Girl Boutique for providing me with materials for me to photograph for you today. Those are all vendors that I use for gifts for my boudoir clients, which if you're ever in the Vancouver area and interested in boudoir photography or wedding photography, those are my two specialties. So yeah. All right, y'all, have a great rest of your day and rest of your week, and happy shopping. And I'll talk to y'all soon.